Welcome back to the daily grind. We're trying new songs every day. I don't know why. I don't know what that
Wow.
was.
Wow.
Sorry. This is a daily grind. This is Luke. You couldn't tell by those lovely singing pipes. And I have Daniel Greer of the Grizz 901 live postgame show with me, which is a sick hat. Your hat's cooler than mine.
Thanks, man. A lot of things in life, the look, the face, maybe not the beard. A lot of things better than yours, but it is what it is.
No, I mean, yeah, better goatee, better. I know I'm with you. Look, game recognizes game. I'll give it to you. I mean, look, you've got the crispest background. Like you've got Zebo and I've got Jerry the King Lawler. I think that says enough about it.
Who wins in a fight, Zebo or Lawler?
How old is
Wrestling
Lawler
match.
in the fight?
Wrestling match in his prime, Zebo in his prime, a real wrestling match, like both big entertainers, both guys. I'm not talking about the Jerry Lawler who doesn't lose. I'm talking about if they were both brought in as different competing places.
Yeah.
You're talking about the no bluffing guy.
I think Zebo curb stomps his ass. Part of my language, but I just don't see that going well for the King. I just don't.
I love it. I love it. Now Zebo's the man.
He's the man.
I always call this my two pillars of Memphis basketball. You have Penny, and you also have Zebo, and so
I love that.
Both are awesome.
Well, I'm working on my segues, and we're gonna call. Speaking of two pillars, there were two pillars that beat us last night. Boom, segue. I'm getting better. Did you? Well, yeah, of course you watched the game. You guys had Roser on the show last night. Like, what were your thoughts on the game? The loss.
Yeah, John Roser was amazing. If you missed it,
good show.
We talked less about basketball than we probably talked about other things in life, which was awesome. It's refreshing to me just in general, being a host, that you're going through the monotony of this season and in general, just this year, of how much you're trying to figure out, content. But the game overall, you're talking about a 110-101 game where the Grizzlies came out, up 14-0 to start the game, played well. And it was a game where they felt like they were in it early and felt like they were controlling a little bit of the game. Yeah. But I think when it comes down to it is you don't have the right players, obviously the best players in the court. And I think after halftime, Minnesota kind of reared their head and just showed dominance over that game the rest of the way. And at that point, dude, you have Anthony Edwards who just said, you know what, we're going to do it. And I'm going to take it over.
I don't know. I hate how it chooses to do that. It's unfortunate because Jaren was this close to I would argue being the best player on the floor last night. He was. Yeah. We were hanging in there. I didn't see it being nearly that close, but fourth quarter happened and Ant just kind of took over.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most complete Jaren games I've seen in a hot minute. I was looking back through it, like in terms of when was the last time he had a double-double? It's been over a month, I think.
And he had it by halftime. I think if you're being honest with yourself, to say that Jaren was the best player on the court, you have a good argument. I think the easiest way that nobody can refute is Jaren was the best player on the court in the first half. Anthony Edwards was the best player on the court in the second half. And at that point, that's the issue, is you have a guy who was the best player on the court to close the game with better players around him. It doesn't take much, and you're at home. That's a loss almost 10 times out of 10.
Man, watching that Timberwolves team in the second half last night, it was the first time where I was like, man, if they are firing on all cylinders, I mean, they gave Denver trouble last year. They could really give them trouble this year. Yeah. They were. Granted, they can't be. That was a story of two different teams from them because we were just the more competitive club in the first half. It was weird. It was weird because the second half they came out and it's like you said, they just took care of business. And I mean, that's the teams that have the personnel, that have the guys to make a deep playoff run. It's like that. We just don't have the guys. You said it really well.
Yeah, I'm curious what the Minnesota Timberwolves look like in the playoffs. John Roser was talking last night very highly, and so was our chat. Shout out to those, the guys and gals that come through there. They all, really do believe in the Minnesota Timberwolves. I can't. I just can't. I believe in Anthony Edwards. I think he's the real deal. I think it takes motivation to really get the best out of him. I don't think there's internal motivation from him to get himself up. I think it takes something to get him going. If he gets going, he's usually the best player on the court. But I just don't believe in Karl-Anthony Towns or Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley, even though he did just get that big contract. He kind of just goes invisible a lot of times. And I don't know if you can have that from your conductor, their conductor, our conductor, really being that guy in the playoffs. And so I'm just not a believer yet in Minnesota. But, listen, they can prove me wrong very easily.
Well, I mean, out of those 4 guys, it's tough because Ant's the only one. I'm with you. Ant's the only one that I would worry about. I'm not – Connolly can disappear in the playoffs.
Right.
I'm not super scared of Gobert in the playoffs yet. Granted, he's having a much better season. He could prove us wrong, like you said. Right. But I just don't like Cat. I've never liked Cat. I don't like him. I think he's weird when he's good, and I just don't like him. And I'm a weirdo, and I don't like him. His weird is too weird. His weird is too weird for me. So I don't know. It's like if Ant's the only dude that we 100% trust out of that group, and he needs something to get out of bed, like he needs a little oomph to get him going. I tend to lean towards you, and I like the role players on this team more than I like the top 4. I think that's where they win. With like Kyle Anderson, with what's his name, Nicole Waller. He's got 3 names. I don't know.
Oh, Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Yeah, thank you. I was like, I don't know, Daniel. I don't know. He's got 3 names. I don't know.
Yeah. No, listen, I agree with that. Also, the 2 guys that are my favorite off of the bench, and I guess Jaden Daniel isn't a bench player. He's a more role player. I really like Jaden Daniels. Jaden McDaniels. Yeah. He plays well. He plays within his role. The biggest guy for them has been Naz Reid.
Yeah.
I know that we see that because like last night, he completely killed us again, and he continues to be and live up to the hype of the Grizz killer completely. So those are my 2 guys. But the one guy I know you said you don't like, and I don't like him, most people don't. The X factor for them in the playoffs in general is Karl-Anthony Towns. If he can make you, let me rephrase. If he can make big shots, dude, it's hard to beat that team because he can stretch the floor so much.
Yeah, I just don't want to see him doing his weird shush. He just doesn't know how to. I don't know. He does weird, like, I don't know. He's weird. Do you think fully? I mean, we've seen fully healthy. Granted, did they have Gobert when we played? They didn't have Gobert, did they? The last time we played him in the playoffs. That series where BC went off. I don't.
Yeah,
think
they had him in the.
Did they?
Last year, right?
This was 2 years ago.
Oh, then no. He came over last year. So no.
I mean, we know we match up well against them fully healthy.
We used to. Our team is completely different than it used to be.
Yes. So I'm intrigued. Yeah. Like you're saying, I'm intrigued how this iteration of us matches up against them.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
And it's going to be what we're not going to see it this season, but it's something that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. I think it'll be awesome for sure.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, I want to talk about probably it's a tough beat when maybe the second best player on your team was Zaire Williams, but we're going to talk about that when we get back after this break.
Not just the level of individual talent that he plays with, but it's also the level of his mind. We haven't gotten cross-court open shot this year. Right. We haven't seen that pass a lot. Number one, you got to respect him going to the basket. There's a roller. I got to watch the roller. He has the mind to be able to say, I see all of that, and now I see this guy over here. I'm going to get him this open shot. How shifty he is to always be going forward. It's usually side to side.
Yeah.
His dribble moves are side to side, but going forward.
Right.
Which is very hard to defend. I just want to get you, as many times can I get you to do this? But for him, it's not here. It is here, which is with or his moves to get down the floor. It's awkward for a defender to try to catch a cadence. You dribble. So now what I do is when you go put that ball down, I'm going for it. But with him, it's hard for my cadence. But what's my cadence for you? I don't know what it is.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind. That's what we call a short commercial break. I like how that worked. Next part of the show. So Zaire Williams has been making a really strong case for himself, I think, to be in this to be in this rotation, to be like the 10th man. It even feels weird to say. I don't know. I'm looking. I mean, last night was the best version of him, I would say.
Was it?
I mean, best version we've seen from him. I mean, I'm trying to.
Are we moving the goalpost for him because he's been so bad?
Yes.
And I think that's the biggest issue with this.
Yeah.
It's not that he's a bad player. It's not that he played bad last night. I just don't want to be the guy who's prisoner of the moment, moving the goalpost because he's been so bad that we're getting anything out of him that we're like, hey, maybe something's working with him.
Do you know that he's averaging career highs in everything?
Like, oh my God, really?
What it like? I looked it up this morning. It's career high in points, rebounds, and assists, and it's like, and I think steals, and like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. Well, listen, he's been rebounding the ball much better, which is helping. Yes. And that's what he was doing in his first year, was really rebounding and playing well. And he obviously had 8 last night, but his assists continue to be nothing burger. He had 2 last night, and he averages like 1.8 this entire month of February, just in general. I think that's an issue in itself because there's no creation for anybody else. And that's what I kind of look like for a role player is, can you create just, maybe it's a hockey assist where, as people don't know what that is, it's the second. All right. So you're passing to somebody who's making the pass for the assist. So the hockey assist in general, that's tracked by hockey, not basketball. But I think that's important. And so maybe if he's getting those, I don't know, but I know that he's not really creating that. But the steals are big. They always been big. But last night, I don't see any steals. 0.
Oh.
Did you just think that he got a steal or they took him away from him?
I think I did. I 100% think I did. I was like, wait a minute. Either that or I read the line above it. I'm looking at this thing.
He's averaging 1.4 steals for sure in the month of February. He didn't have one last game. It's the only game this whole entire month that he has not had one. So listen, I give him his credit. He's still doing well. His numbers are up 12.8 points just in this month, which has been much better. Let's give him his flowers. His kudos when he's doing well. But I just don't know what that looks like on a good team. I wonder if he can still contribute and find the way, such as some of these other guys. We could make a big case as well for guys like Lamar Stevens and even Vince Williams. Can they be good when this team is running on all cylinders? I think that's going to be – I think a lot of fans who fall in love with these younger guys or these guys that are new to this team that have small roles, I think we have to always just let it breathe for a second because we might be a little impressed or not impressed from guys and how they play with much better players. Yeah.
Well, so piggybacking sort of off of that, you looking forward to next season – when hopefully we are firing on all cylinders, it's about to pony up with Zaire and Santi in terms of their, we did their option, but like they're coming up, their contracts are almost over. Like
they have next year as their
next year. Which one of, if it was you, I'm taking Santi between the two of them any day of the week. I really like Santi, but I've been seeing people gang up on him a lot lately.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like, between the two of them, if you've got to pick one, who are you picking?
I think this is a no-brainer for Santi.
So yes.
But what you have is you have 2 guys that have not played well this season at all. Mm-hmm. And I think that you could look back last year and Santi played much better. So the season prior to that, Zaire played much better. And now Zaire's playing, decent again. You're going to have these ebbs and flows, but what I will look at is the start of next season. And honestly, one of those guys, if not both, could be traded in the offseason. So I think it's kind of, I don't think it's fair to kind of just say, hey, which one would you pick? Because you still have a lot of runway left for these guys, a whole nother season. And I think they're both under $4 million each. I do know that. Yeah. I think Santi might, not Santi.
might be like 4.5.
Zaire more than that. Anyway, it's not tons of money. You might want to take a chance on him another season, but I don't know. I don't know if I don't think both of them are in the 10-man rotation next year. There's no way I would say that. So one of them probably will be, and the other one probably won't, whichever way you end up going.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, if you're looking at it seems that you get the best Zaire when he's playing with Ja, and that's not. I think that's a mark against him. Like you got to have a little bit more versatility and flexibility than that. And I don't know. The flashes that I've seen from Santi intrigue me more than the flashes I've seen from Zaire, and they always have. I just think that he's for what we need. I just think he brings more to the table. I don't know.
Yeah, listen, I like both in a very small sample size. The problem is Santi is the big, right? He's the bigger guy. Yes. He can stretch the floor. Zaire, just putting in the pros and cons here, he can stretch the floor as well. He's actually they're probably both the same on offense, especially if you have to take in Santi's behind the back crazy passes that sometimes don't work. Sometimes they do work, right? So you have both these guys that give you a little, they don't give you a lot. Zaire's defense is a lot better man-to-man than Santi's. Yes. They both get lost on team defense. And so neither one of them are great defenders, even though Zaire has shown glimpses. It's all man-to-man, one-on-one defense is when he shines. He gets lost any other way. So you can give a case for both. The problem is they're both so inconsistent this season. I think you can refute anything anybody says. And so it's going to be tough. But, man, I think both have a chance to be on the team next year. Both have a chance to be in the rotation. I just don't know who's left out. I think this is a lot left to be desired for both of these guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, and as is, you've got Ja, Jaren, Dez, Marcus. There's 4. Let's say Luke, Vince, Gigi, 7. I'm missing someone big. Whom I'm missing? I don't know. Brandon Clark. That's 8. And that's before you get to if they keep Lamar Stevens, if they keep John Conchar, if they have a backup point guard, and then there's just a lot. It's a lot of dudes vying for that 9th, 10th man spot. And I don't know if I guess it'll be fun how it plays out to see how it plays out. I don't
There's no bigs on this roster other than Jaren.
And there's
Santi,
no center.
Santi is a big, but let's just call him. He's just a big 3. That's all he is. He plays like a 3. Just in general, and his defense is like a 3. He can't play on the big guys for the most part. So I'm just saying there's going to be some bigs brought in on this team, whether it is on the 11, 12, 13th guy as a backup to a backup center because they want to go smaller. I don't know, but just know there's going to be some kind of big brought in one way or the other. And it's not Trey Jemison who is on a 2-way. He's there. He's the emergency break glass guy.
Yes.
So listen, this roster is going to change very much so in the offseason as well. Yeah.
I'm excited. That's going to be one of the biggest offseason storylines, honestly, to see what kind of big they bring in. We can have a whole nother pod about that.
Sure.
We'll take one final break, and when we get back, we're going to introduce a new segment and a new game. Little hint about it. It involves what should be everyone's favorite Star Wars character. That's your hint. We'll get more on it right after this break.
I'm just big on being able to vocalize what someone's role is. I always thought my best coaches were the people that let me know exactly what you expect from me. Now, I might not like it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. But if you come to me man to man to say, this is how we think we're going to play you, bang, bang, bang. And hopefully everybody understands. I'm not saying that this has not been done with this team. I'm just saying from my experience, we all have egos when we get to this game. Right. All of us. To the last person on the bench, you got an ego. But all of us can't be the man. Yeah. You got to be able to say, okay, he's the man, but what do I do and what can I do to help us be good? And if it's vocalized to you, then you know exactly and if I'm out there doing it and now I'm not getting the result from you, now we got to sit down and have another conversation. But as long as it is told to you, this is what we expect from you, this is how we want you to play, then I feel like, again, keeping this logo. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind. contrary to popular belief, we do have other shows other than Sane Show over at Bluff City Media. You wouldn't tell by those commercials, but we have more than that. You know, you've got the Grizz 901 live postgame show. You've got Tigers Untapped. You know, there's something for everybody. If you're a Memphis person, check it out. There's a ton of stuff. And if you can't do the $5 a month, become a YouTube subscriber. That's free. That's easy. Everybody can afford free, I think, if you have internet. But I'm really excited about this. So this is a new segment. Okay, well, let's a little background. So if you've seen Star Wars, which you should have, if not, shame on you. There is, you should take our hats off. There's a great character by the good Admiral Akbar. He passed away, Daniel. The Admiral Akbar passed away. Thank you. Take your hat off. Thank you. He's a fish man.
No clue where you were going.
Man. I'm going to show a picture. I'll have a graphic later. We'll show him. But he has an infamous line that goes, "It's a trap. It's a trap." It's going to be more thematic once I get the graphics and stuff. But it's a trap. So the way it's a trap, the game works. I'm going to hit you with, let's put our hats back on. We're both having weird hair days. I'm going to hit you with, let's say, 20 different trivia questions.
Okay.
The topic, it will vary each week, but this week it's just going to be Grizzlies trivia. Half these questions are real. Half of them are a trap. So you don't have to answer the question right. You just have to determine whether or not it's a real question or if it's a trap. And the way you win is by guessing those right.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
How many total?
20.
Okay. So I got 10 that are a trap.
10s are traps and 10 are real.
Got it.
Okay. So
easy.
Yeah. I mean, so, and they're not going to be in any order, no patterns here. None of that. Trust me, I started it first and it was every other question. I had to go back and redo them. I was like, wait a minute, this is easy. Okay. Let's start. Okay. Which former Memphis Grizzlies player won the NBA Defensive Player of the Year award in 2013?
Was it 13? It was 2013. Marc Gasol for sure. Was it 2013?
Well, it doesn't matter. You got it right. That one is not a trap. So you got that one right.
Real question. Sweet.
Real question.
Yep.
How many players on the Memphis Grizzlies have a fear of heights?
That can't be a real question.
Right. It's a trap. Okay. You got it. All right. Who was the first player to attend a Memphis Grizzlies game as a fan?
It's got to be a trap.
That is a trap. It's a trap. Which former Memphis Grizzlies player was known as the grind father for his tough defensive play?
That is a real question.
It's a real question. That one was easy. Okay.
I'm winning right now. I'm perfect.
You are winning. You're perfect. Who was the first fan to arrive at the FedEx Forum for the Memphis Grizzlies home opener in the 2019-2020 season?
That's a trap.
I don't know, trap. Okay. What was the temperature inside the FedEx Forum during the Memphis Grizzlies championship parade that never happened?
That's a trap.
That is a trap. Okay. In what year did the Grizzlies make their first ever playoff appearance after moving to Memphis?
That is a real question.
That is a real question.
And that would be, hold on. That would be, God, it's got to be 2005 or 6. Anyway, keep going.
No, I like it though. Which season did the Memphis Grizzlies have their best regular season record in franchise history?
I think that's 2013. That's a real question.
That is a real question. Who was the head coach of the Grizzlies during the playoff run to the Western Conference Finals in 2013?
It's a real question, and it's got to be. Was it Hubie? It's got to be Hubie Brown, right? Or was it Lionel? Was it Hollins or Brown?
I was going to say Dave Yeager. Is that wrong?
It's not.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it was Hubie. It got to be Hubie.
I think it was Hubie because it was I think it was one of his last years, if not his last year.
I think you're right. Because
then they brought in Tayshaun Prince.
Yep. You're right. Yeah. Okay. What was the combined weight of all basketballs used by the Grizzlies during the 2010-2011 season?
That's a trap.
That's a trap. You're right. Okay. How many popcorn kernels were consumed by fans at the FedEx Forum during the 2015-2016 season?
Did you smoke something when you made this game up? Because that's a trap.
The answer is probably yes. How many times did the Grizzlies bus break down during the 08-09 season?
It's a trap.
Crap. Okay. Which was the first ever draft pick made by the Grizzlies after their relocation to Memphis?
That is Pau Gasol, and that is a real question.
That is a real question. And I don't know if this is 20, but this is the last question, your final question. What was... Wait, did I already ask this one? No, here we go. How many minutes was the shortest game in Memphis Grizzlies history?
That's a trap.
That's a trap. Daniel, you know what? That was the first time for It's a Trap, and you got all of them right. You were perfect, man. You were perfect. I didn't think you were going to get them all right. I'm not. I thought some of those trick questions were going to get you.
It had to have been the popcorn kernels. Is that
I thought the kernels, man. I was like, surely he's looked this up. Surely.
Wow.
So, you know what? So I'll give you here's a bonus question. If you get this, I'll send you $5.
Yes.
How many times did Super Grizz attempt to break the world record for longest continuous dance?
That's got to be a trap.
That's a trap. You're right. I'll Venmo you. Thank you for tuning into the show today, guys. That's going to do it for us at the Daily Grind. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for playing That's a Trap. And next week, we're going to have another category, more trick questions that may or may not be traps. So tune in, and we will see you all tomorrow.